All right, let's see. I'm gonna do this intro real quick. And hey, everybody, welcome to an episode of Hey, everybody.
My show now.
Yeah, exactly. I'm Joe Capobianco. Welcome to an episode of Not for Nothing. I am in Columbus, or just outside of Columbus, Ohio. And I'm gonna let my next guest introduce himself.
I'm Joey Knuckles from Columbus, Ohio. I tattoo at Sacred Hand Tattoo Society. I own that shop, High Street Tattoo and Body Language Tattoo here in town. I've been tattooing for 23 years, and I really like it.
Nice. Are you from the Columbus area, like
Roundabouts?
Roundabouts, Columbus?
My mom lives in a small town about an hour east, and then my dad had some health issues when I was a kid. It was kind of heavy, and I was like a bad kid, kind of going to jail and shit. So I ran away from home. Not really run away from home, but I left home. And came to Columbus at 16 and lived in like skateboarder flop houses. And,
oh shit! Okay. So you've been you're pretty much a staple of the scene, because Columbus has got like kind of a legit, like an actual scene.
Oh
like,
sure,
like
yeah.
Between the hardcore scene and the.
Oh yeah. We've always had music with punk and hardcore and like indie rock even in the '90s when that was a word that people used. And then tattooing's always been really good here.
Yeah.
So, skateboarding's always been awesome. Columbus is slept on, and it's starting to get bigger now, and people are kind of coming here more often. But when we were kids, you'd have to go to Cleveland or Cincinnati.
It wasn't really a thing back then.
Yeah, we got passed over a lot, but I think it just made everybody like try that much harder to be noticed. Really,
Nice. It's funny. I started coming to Columbus back in the day for Hell City, back in like I guess the mid '90s. It would have been or late 2000s, I guess. I don't remember, to be honest. When it started.
I don't remember how many years it's been now.
I did the second year, and that's when Columbus kind of got on my radar as far as being like kind of a cool city. The changes that have happened in this city since all that has blown my fucking mind. This place has blown
insane.
The fuck up. It's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah,
it's like huge college town, of course, and then now. They're like building like all kinds of Intel plants and things like this. So I think they're gonna make this like a new Silicon Valley, like the affordable Silicon Valley. Until now, then we can't afford it anymore.
Yeah, well, see, that's the scary part of a lot of these places is just that. Like even with Connecticut, a lot of people moved up from New York and New Jersey to get out of like after COVID, of course, and they could buy property for next to nothing. And then just jack up all the fucking rents, and it's kind of pathetic. Crazy. It sucks.
I had a guy that worked with us, and he tried to buy a house an hour outside the city, and so many people have left the city that now the small towns that used to be like, for, I won't use numbers, but for a very affordable amount of money, you can get yourself a nice family home, pay it off early, and have it yours, and now those kind of homes that would be like a small home, they're paying the same kind of numbers that you pay for a house like this inside the city. Right. And the house is like a third the size. And
that's the crazy thing is what people are willing to pay just to be part of something. And then like you said, it just keeps going up and up and up. And everybody who put the time in to actually create these neighborhoods are now getting priced out.
And people think tattooing by appointment is going to buy them a house.
Yeah, I don't think it works that way anymore. I'm assuming you had when did you start tattooing?
So I got a pretty interesting path. I started working kind of like as a floor guy, like almost a bouncer at Body Language on the east side. I got tattooed there a bunch, and they started letting me kind of answer the phones and deal with the customers. And, it's kind of like a rough neighborhood, and sometimes like some hard asses would come in. So I would be like the guy that would be like, hey, what's up?
It's like, you can't be here.
No, it wouldn't even be that. It would be like, it would go from the kind of guy where they wanted me to kind of chase the dude off because they were, it was like, oh shit, this guy's wild. I would just sell the guy a tattoo, and he would like love me. Just like, yo, what's up?
Well, how old were you at this point?
Early 20s,
Okay. Oh, okay.
And then so I hung out and did that for a little while, and then they started. They needed a part-time piercer, so they taught me to pierce. and I kind of felt like something was cooking, and then one day they just kind of had me drawing the line drawings. It was a very busy shop,
Right.
so I'd be like doing the line drawings for the guys, making their stencils.
Almost like an unofficial apprenticeship.
I just saw it as working at the tattoo shop,
Right.
and they let me do piercings. I was making money. I used to just hang out on the weekends and do the same shit,
Right.
just to get tattooed for free. So I didn't really think. I thought no chance I was learning to tattoo.
Oh, for real? Okay. It's funny because most people hang around a shop long enough. When do you think that became a thing where, oh, I've been here long enough, I should, like, I think it started with piercing personally, but it's like, I've been here long enough, I want to fucking learn how to tattoo. I want to be on that side of the fence.
The entitlement of it, I just think that comes generationally with people, because I never really thought I was going to get a chance to tattoo.
Right.
Like they all knew I wanted to, but I was also like a street kid, so they didn't know that I was necessarily capable of reeling it in to be a professional.
And exactly, being like, you were like a feral cat.
I was a wild card.
It's like
Yeah.
you could feed him on the porch, but not allowed inside.
Yeah, kind of, I was a cool homie, but it's like, is he gonna fucking fight somebody in here or what?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's nervous.
Answer, yes. But anyway, I kind of like, I did really good at every job I ever had my whole life before I tattooed. So when they hired me to actually be the piercer, I just took it really seriously and worked really hard. I was a 2-day-a-week piercer that was there 5 days a week, helping out.
I think you're probably from a generation, especially if you've been on your own since you were 16. I mean, you come from a generation where you're either a total fuck up and you're most likely going to die by the time you're 20.
Oh yeah.
Or you're gonna realize that you have responsibilities for yourself, for nobody but yourself, and that's just keeping yourself alive, keeping yourself living.
I would say everybody I came up around is either a winner or a loser.
Oh, really? Okay.
You know what I mean? Either they're gone in prison or a waste of time and effort and space, like they just wasted their lives, or they've done a whole lot with their lives.
So when did you actually manage to, like, was it officially asked of you, like after you did all this legwork, was it officially asked of you, or?
So I was just busting ass at the shop, and I was loving it, and they, I'm trying to remember what happened first. So what happened first was, they had me they were like, draw up one of those Sailor Jerry roses. So I drew a little Sailor Jerry rose, like make a stencil. I made a stencil and I took it around the half wall, and the dude, Andy Raisin, had his leg shaved and was like sitting in the chair.
So you didn't even know this was going to
I
happen?
had no idea. I had been watching them tattoo,
Right.
but just out of pure curiosity and like killing time, like it wasn't like they were like explaining shit to me. I just thought it was fun to get to watch tattoos,
Right.
And he's like, all right, sit down, and I knew cross contamination, I knew the bloodborne pathogen stuff because I was piercing part time at this point, So, I had been working in the tattoo shop technically long enough to know how to do the procedure safely.
You watched enough of it
to an extent, I knew what to do, what not to do. So I was breaking down stations, the whole thing. So I just didn't know that they were teaching me to tattoo. It was like Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san.
Well, it's almost better because it's almost like you're being slowly trained.
Exactly. They kind of leaned me into it.
Right.
So then I tattooed this rose on his leg, and as soon as I got done, they were like, well, your first 30 will be on arms and legs, and then we'll see what you can do on like a body. And I was like, am I going to do 30 tattoos? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome, dude.
Right.
I was literally, I couldn't get past the fact that I was going to get to do 30 tattoos. I couldn't even realize, it was days before I realized, oh, this is the beginning of getting the tattoo.
Right,
maybe.
exactly.
And I remember thinking, like, if I could pay my rent for 5 years out of doing tattoos, that would be awesome. Then I'd go back to restaurants and be happy.
Oh, shit, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
In no way did I think, because I wasn't a very good artist naturally. You know what I mean? I had no idea why they were allowing me to do this. Like,
I think, how much of it do you think had to do back then? It was very few people had the forethought to look for an artist It was more about that inner drive, that person you wanted in your shop to hang around with.
I mean, it had to be it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine any other redeemable value I had at the time other than like loyalty
And being cool to be
real.
around in the shop.
Just being a real dude.
Yeah.
You know, oh, excuse me. Being a real dude, you know?
Yeah.
And telling jokes, you know? And so, you know, I did my apprenticeship in body language under Dan Wesley, who now works at Sacred Hand with me.
Oh wow, that's crazy. He works with you now.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Small world. That's pretty cool.
I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
So I worked in body language for years. I believe in 05, my second job in tattooing was High Street Tattoo. I was thinking about moving to either St. Louis or Boston. And Giovanni from High Street was like, hey, come work for me. Because body language is kind of like on the east side of town. Almost suburban, but not quite.
Right.
And then he was like, come work downtown. He's like, you never worked in the city and you're going to move to a bigger city. Like, that seems kind of weird.
That's actually a good point because, like, you know, places like, and again, I don't know anything about like the other one, but Boston is definitely, it's small, but it's
Shark Tank.
a bit more of a bustle. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was a good point. I agreed with him. So I went to work at High Street, and I worked at High Street from 05 till 08 when I moved to Philly. And then, excuse me. So High Street was an eye-opener. It was a full custom shop.
Right.
And they didn't have any flash on the walls, and I was used to drawing everything from flash.
Yeah.
Google was just starting to be used.
And
Like, that was like a
kinda,
secret fucking weapon.
I was gonna say that kind of changed the whole.
Yeah, the first dude at the shop with a laptop was like a genius. He was like, what the fuck is this dude doing? You know, he can fucking just draw a tiger. You know, so it was the first full custom shop I worked at. You kind of weren't allowed to trace stuff.
Okay.
You know, unless
Yeah.
it was like realistic or something.
Right.
So I had to fucking draw everything from scratch, every tattoo.
Kind of like the beginning of custom for you.
Yeah, well, I had done custom work on my friends, you know what I mean, but a lot of what I did was build tattoos, custom tattoos off of Flash.
Right. Well, that was like
piece
the old.
it together.
That was the old way of doing it. You know what I mean?
And I drew some stuff, but it really sucked. And I didn't like how it looked. And I'd like see like somebody else like I really liked Dave Waugh Flash when I was learning.
Yeah.
And Clean Rocks Flash. And I would all the little kind of pork chop sheets they did, man.
Right.
I would eat that shit up.
The same thing. I kind of cut my teeth on J.D. Crow.
That was
Ken Cameron.
When I got a
stuff
little
like
bit
that.
better, that was the next step. With
Yeah.
J.D. Crow.
And then when we got the old the Vinnie Meyer stuff, the Dave Waugh stuff, like one of the guys I worked with was out in California, good friends with Eddie Deutsch. You know, Trevino, all those guys, he was collecting all that 222 Flash. And so when that stuff came in, like,
Talking my heartbeat.
yeah, it's I was 2 years in, and I had left the first shop, was making good money, went to the second shop to work with Tom and Siv for Lotus Tattoo, and I went from a busy shop to a fucking dead shop. And like 2 months in, 3 months in, I'm like, fuck, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And Tom was the one, he's like, dude, you like all this Flash out there, you fucking draw, why don't you make some Flash?
Yeah.
And just started making Flash, and that became like a fucking thing unto itself. Yeah,
Yeah, I remember your Flash popping.
Yeah, I was, and again,
I
compared to
couldn't
like,
tattoo none of that shit.
well, but I look at it from the perspective of compared to like the Dave Waugh stuff and the Vinnie Meyer stuff, that's what I look to aspire to. My stuff was dog shit in comparison. I was really fortunate.
See, I
that
thought
it
your
sold.
stuff was too good to tattoo. I couldn't tattoo it and make it look
Well,
right.
because
The
none of it
colors
was.
were too wild.
I think part of it was because I didn't have a traditional apprenticeship. Like, I was always like an artist who
it
did
was
his
art.
thing.
It was
and-
like not a tattoo. Like for me, it had to be a very simple tattoo
Yeah.
for me to read it correctly.
Exactly. And so I think in one sense it hurt, but in another sense I think people wanted to own it because it was so outrageously different from what they already had on the walls.
Right.
So I was very fortunate from that perspective.
So I had painted a little Flash before I worked at High Street. And then when I got to High Street, she was like, why are you painting Flash? Nobody's getting that shit tattooed. That's a waste of your time. You know? and honestly, it shortchanged me 3 years of my fucking development artistically, I think. Because what I did was I drew only for tattoos. I did some paintings, but not really as many as you kind of should, you know? And I drew a lot for these tattoos. And, you know, I got to this point where I was tattooing a bunch of people and I thought I was hot shit. And I got this job, and you know, I decided to move to Philly, and I got a job at Philadelphia Eddie's and a Cadillac, Cosmos Cadillac in Manayunk.
All right, nice.
I got job offers at both, so I took both.
Classic shops too,
Yeah.
like good like street shop.
Eddie's 621,
okay.
Troy Temple's
Yeah.
Eddie's. So, and Eddie still lived down the street, so I moved to Philly in '08. So that was my third job, Went to Philly, and I kind of told everybody when I got to the shops, I was like, I only really plan on being here a year and a half, 2 years, and then I'm going to go to a different shop. Like, I came to the East Coast to be here temporarily and
you
learn.
want to learn.
I want to learn.
Yeah.
I'm not here to really be a permanent fixture anywhere.
Right.
And it was always pretty cool, even though it was a territorial city. I got along all right.
Yeah, Philly definitely has its own cutthroat.
There were certain teams
yeah.
you couldn't play for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly,
If I
yeah.
wanted to, basically, I wanted to work at Old City Tattoo, for Jason Goldberg.
Right.
And Eddie's gave me a job offer, and I thought that was a really good first step.
Right.
And then I got to work and hang out with Philadelphia Eddie. And,
Oh, that's got to be like the glory, especially if that's the world you kind of have painted yourself into. And that's exactly,
That's my
if
man.
that's the world you paint yourself into,
Yeah.
that's amazing. Like
Yeah.
that's a golden opportunity.
Yeah, I have voicemails saved from Eddie of him wishing me happy birthday and
Nice,
stuff.
that's fucking killer.
So
That's super cool.
just that. I met my wife in Philly, and I got to be friends with Eddie.
Yeah.
And if that was the only things that happened, and they weren't,
Right.
like a lot of awesome things happened for me there.
Right.
They would have been worth doing.
Right.
So I went to Philly for 5 years. I worked at Eddie's. I worked at Old City. I then went to like a custom fancy schmancy type place. I'm going to remain.
Oh, you're not gonna. Okay.
I worked with some cool artists. I worked with some fun people.
Overall,
that I
a bad-
like,
kind of a shitty
but I'm
experience.
not going to give the person that owned the shop any kind of
Okay.
credit.
Okay.
I got fired from there. It's the only job I've ever been fired for in my whole life because one of my customers told one of his customers that I said that he was a bad tattoo artist. So he fired me in front of my client and then offered to do my client's tattoo. And my client was like, can I get tattooed at your house? And I'm like, you fucking sure can. So the dude just fucked himself out of 40% for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
I think I had put my down payment on High Street and I gave the guy a notice and he took it as an opportunity to fuck me.
Oh, so
And so
I
he
mean,
canned me thinking it was going to cripple me.
well, you have to I came from that thing where if you gave notice, you were fired.
Yeah.
Like, and that
well,
happened.
but here's the thing. I gave notice with 6 months of 3 $600 appointments a day lined up and no time for walk-ins.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, most fucking shop owners don't think beyond the here
Yeah, I
and fucking
would.
now.
Motherfucker, he's
Yeah.
handing me 40% of 1,800 every day.
A different day and age, though.
You'd have to fuck my wife for me to fire you, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, but it was a poor business decision on his behalf.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with that. I think.
And it forced my hand to do the dirty.
Yeah.
And I had to go to the house.
Yeah.
Because we had put a down payment on High Street. I was penniless. And I had 6 months of people lined up, ready to get tattooed.
Right.
And I was doing really well in Philly, and this was before, this is after the first recession, the 08, 09.
I was gonna say you're looking at
once it got rolling again.
Yeah, exactly.
I was doing good.
I think it's funny too because in Connecticut we didn't have the same. I don't think we had the same issues. Like at that time, tattooing was still almost untouchable when it came to what goes on in the real world. Like the recession is happening, people are having trouble paying their mortgages, but they're still going and getting tattooed. Like I stayed busy that entire time. It wasn't until like COVID that everything really took a shit.
First year when I moved and worked for Eddie's, it was brutal.
Yeah.
The first year was brutal. And then I worked my way out of it.
Right.
This guy canned me. I had to go to my crib for, I think, 2-3 months. Hoodie from Black Vulture Gallery was awesome enough to let me go there and make my stencils, use his copy machine and shit.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think Dave Fox left there, and he had an empty chair, and I was there making stencils one day, and he's like, dude, you want to just do your appointments here? And I was like, dude, I'd fucking love to.
Yeah.
These people out of my fucking house. Like I had a nice little setup, but I fucking hated it.
Yeah,
like, it
no,
was
working out of
such
your
a
house is- I
violation of my
couldn't imagine.
privacy.
Yeah, I couldn't
You
imagine.
know, it's like how you make new people.
Yeah.
How do you bring new people through your house and let them see what your layout?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I went back. I took for the last maybe 4 months of being in Philly, I worked at Black Vulture Gallery.
Okay.
So I had put the money down on High Street Tattoo, which was the second place I had worked at
Okay.
in Columbus.
So you were buying the existing shop?
Yes,
Okay,
from
cool.
Giovanni.
Okay.
So I bought High Street in 2013 from Gio. 2014, the guy that originally taught me to tattoo, that owns Body Language, came and got tattooed, and we bullshitted. He saw, High Street wasn't doing so well when I got it, and kind of brought it back to life. His shop wasn't doing so well, and he invited me in to be a business partner.
Oh shit. Okay.
And so in 2014, I bought in as a partner at Body Language. And then 2016, I opened up Sacred Hand.
Damn. Just like.
Yeah,
That's
kind of like
incredible.
every couple of years, I tried to reinvest.
Right.
Into the tattoo business.
Now, how close are all these shops to one another?
They are about 10 to 15 minutes apart. Like one's on the east side, one's on the north side, one's on the south side.
Okay.
We're on the west side right now.
Okay. Okay.
In 23, really in 25 years, 24 years, in 24 years, I'm in Columbus. I've worked at 3 tattoo shops, and I own all 3.
That's pretty tremendous.
And 2 of them came from loyalty, like
Right.
we were talking before. It's like,
you didn't burn bridges when you left. those
when
places.
it's time to leave, it was like, hey, well, how would you like this to go,
Right.
boss man? Like when I left this Body Language, I came to West. Like, hey man, I'm thinking about, I want to make a move. How you want me to do this? You
Right.
know? And when I moved to Philly, whenever I came back, I would do my guest spots at High Street, and kind of became the first guy in line when he wanted to sell that.
Right.
So it all kind of became right place, the right time, right guy that never fucked anybody over.
Right.
You know? And then I opened one shop.
So so let me ask you a question. What do you think it was, besides, like you said, loyalty? What do you think it was that made people want to come out, like Body Language, wanting to come to you and be like, what are you doing differently that I'm not doing? Why is my business failing?
In Columbus at the time, like when we worked at High Street, I say, and everything was full custom, right? And it kind of became like almost a boutique,
Right.
And it was really popular then,
Right.
like 05, but these flies are crazy.
Yeah, I was
They're
gonna-
fucking
that's
attacking
what
us. They were nowhere before. It really went crazy. So everybody saw that work. And then you know how it goes. Everybody in town slowly started changing into a boutique.
Yeah.
So when I got back in 2013, I'm used to hustling my ass off at street shops in Philly.
Right.
Like where if you don't have clientele, you're not allowed to work here to do any of our walk-ins.
Right. Exactly.
Let alone come here and just do walk-ins.
Right,
Like
exactly.
that's outlandish to
Yeah.
think in Philadelphia. Like,
Well, I mean, that's
you
kinda how-
just don't get hired.
That's kind of how I am too. Like, I mean, if I go to a shop and I don't have a client that day, I'm not working. I've been to a couple places. When I first started working at Dark Side, I was renting a room there. I was one of the only ones renting a room because I just wanted a place to work. That's all I needed. When I left New Hampshire to go to Connecticut, and I didn't want to take walk-ins because I felt like that belongs to the shop and the guys in the shop. And one day the manager there is like, "Hey man, I got this piece. Do you want to do it?" And I'm looking at him. I go, "Joey, like I don't work here, like technically." And that wasn't me being a snob. It was me being like,
That's their
you got
money. Yeah.
guys here. They should be doing it. And he's like, "You have a walk-in guy?" And he's like, "Oh, he's in the back making needles." This guy was the biggest fucking flake in the shop. Drove me crazy. I hired this kid. And I'm like, he's like, "Dude, it's fucking $300." I'm like, "Well, dude, you don't get a percentage of that. I pay rent." And he was just like, "Dude, it's either you do the tattoo or the person walks out of the shop." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So
got it.
once a week, someone would come in and they'd be like, "Hey, dude, you want to do this?" And I was picking up these little pieces, but it went against my better judgment because I felt like that's the shops.
Yeah.
The shop should be bringing that in. The shop should be taking the money for it. The shop. But it also came to a point like he did have a good thing from the perspective of a good shop. They take care of the client, and then the client leaves happy.
Yeah, you
It doesn't
can't let them
matter.
leave
They don't
without
know
it.
who got the money.
Yeah, at this point, I take walk-ins if somebody comes in and says my name.
Right.
but I have large teams, so it's inappropriate of me to be in rotation.
Right. So
for walk-ins.
again, that's the same thing that I look at.
I'm not regularly in rotation, but if
Yeah.
you come in and I'm there and you want a tattoo from me, and it's like obviously something I can whip up on the spot for sure. I got
That's
you.
the same thing here. Like I have a couple, like most of my guys are custom by appointment, whatever. But I have three guys that their job is, if they're not working, they're walking guys. You know what I mean? So I got one guy's a hustler. Anytime something opens up, he's there. And I've had people come in and be like, you know, my manager's like, hey, do you want to do this? And I'm like, when are they freeing up? And they're like, well, it'll be done in an hour, unless I know for a fact, because we know as well as I do, someone comes in, they want to get tattooed right fucking now. They're not willing to come back in an hour. So I'm like, then I'll do it. But realistically, I don't like taking money out of their pocket.
Yeah, I don't take anything from my guys unless, like I said, if the person comes in and wants me.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times, like a collector or a tattooer will come to town and just pop in.
Well, you have the name.
And be like, can I get a Columbus rat or something?
Yeah.
And, you know, I just have them come back after my appointments. I'll stay a little late.
Right.
And I'll tattoo. You want 5 of them?
Yeah,
You know, I'll tattoo all night if you allow me to.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, but yeah, so I've always taken walk-ins and done custom work. You know, I've always had large-scale clientele getting sleeves and back pieces. I've had clientele that get my flash. I have clientele that have me build their ideas for them.
Right.
You know, I don't really give a shit. As long as I can make it look cool and not be a bad tattoo, I'll do my best.
Well, I think, like I said, I think it's a lot of I mean, I'm sure your personality's got a lot to do with the sales of what you're doing. It's like people just want to get tattooed by individuals because of that individual.
Yeah. That's you know, I think that's good for tattooing a person.
Oh fuck yeah, definitely,
You know?
definitely.
But yeah, like I think that you know, I talk to people sometimes and they're like, oh, this guy, or you know, I got comments on the internet. And it's like, oh, this guy owns 3 shops and blah blah blah. And it's like, well, I was sold 2 shops by my 2 mentors.
You're taking over existing shops. You're not opening
carried
up.
the torch of 2 legacies of long, you know, Body Language has been there 25 years, High Street's been there 20 years.
Yeah.
So really, I just continued to carry the torch.
Right.
When it was my turn.
And
I've opened 1 tattoo shop.
I have a lot more.
And it's been there 10 years now.
Exactly. I have a lot more respect for people like that than I do for people who just move into a new town.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't say this because that's kind of the boat we found ourselves in when we opened Hope. Because I took a job at Darkside, and then Darkside went belly up because of the owner hitting the wall. And it was a big story, but we had no choice. There was nobody else I was going to work for in Connecticut. Nobody that I knew well enough, and I hate to say respected enough to want to go work for them. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I mean, I just I enjoy the job. So for me, it's just really easy. I don't try not to make people wait any longer than they have to.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, we were talking earlier about, like, you know, bringing people into the business, and you say you catch a bit of hell. Like, how many people would you say you've? No, are we talking about bringing people into the business, starting an apprenticeship? Like,
so I have fully apprenticed 3 people.
well, that's not bad.
And I re-apprenticed 1.
Okay.
That was
that's
already
not
a tattooer.
bad. I thought you were going to say, like, you've had like a dozen apprentices.
Nah. I only do 1 person at a time and do it when they really deserve it.
Right.
And they got to work their way into it.
Right.
I have basically, what happened to me in my path in has to happen to you.
Right.
Like, you have to show yourself to be useful and me like you, and then you work at the tattoo shop for a while and show that you're an awesome employee.
Right.
And then once you're an employee, then maybe I start asking you to help me.
Right.
And like, I got a guy working for me now. His name's Charlie, and he's been getting tattooed by Dana Brunson and Marty Holcomb, like all.
So he's been
a young guy,
yeah.
chasing the old guys, and I just like that. You know, he's got a big front by Dana Brunson and a little Columbus rat from me.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
That's
I'm
killer.
like, that's pretty tight.
That's
you know,
killer,
that's a good choice.
Yeah.
You know, and then Jonathan Shaw came to town and to put a presentation. Everybody's buying the flash books. He bought his autobiography to read the words.
Oh, wow,
And I was
okay.
like, I like that.
It's a kid with his head on his shoulder.
Yeah, and then so we hired him to work the desk, and Dana and Dot asked me to teach him to tattoo, if the opportunity arises.
Oh shit! Okay.
So he'll probably be next, and I'll probably, as that kind of thing happens, I'm going to take those opportunities because my argument, like we were saying, I get hell for teaching. Like I never have taught more than one person at a time.
Right.
I've never been like, all right, who's the next apprentice? I'm looking for someone.
Right.
I've just seen something. The first kid landed in my lap. The second guy was a tattooer I love as a human being that was not a good tattooer and was the hardest working Rudy Rudiger in the tattoo world.
Right.
And so he came here and helped me, and I dusted the spider webs off of him and tried and fixed them.
Right.
The first guy worked for me for 7 years and went to back where he's from in Oklahoma and worked at Richard Stell's shop after Richard's death.
Yeah.
And then now has his own shop, and it's doing great.
Nice.
And he's a really Smoky Okie is his Instagram. Charlie Campanella is his name.
Oh,
he's a wonderful
yeah,
tattooer.
I know the name.
He's
yeah,
incredible. The second guy, Frank Zedek, still works at Body Language for me. It's been 7
That's
years.
what I was going to ask is how many of the guys are still working?
7 or 8 years for him there. Connor McKinney was third, and his brother Zach came up from Florida to work for me because he was buddies with one of the other guys. Because if my guys have a friend and we're hiring, that's who I want.
It's cool that it's nice that you keep that open. I mean, how much does it kind of drive you nuts when you see guys just out of the blue being like, "Hey, we're looking for apprentices."
That's crazy.
Like that blows. It's like, how do you?
The kids that come in blindly looking for apprenticeships from people they've never met.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you don't know you like me. Like, do you really want to work for me for 10 years? Dude?
That's why it's kind of hard to understand, like these kids that, they bitch and complain about, I don't want to be treated like this. I don't want to be treated like that. I shouldn't have to mop the floors. You should pay me to do this. And I'm like, dude, you're going in blind for a job opportunity. Excuse me, not a job opportunity, a fucking career.
Yeah.
And you don't even know the person you're asking to teach you. Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you think that way?
That's why I do it the way I do.
Yeah.
So the way it works,
to me, that's how it should be done.
The way it works for me is, it's a 3-year kind of program. They work the desk for a year, and they get paid hourly.
Right.
They're a W-2 employee of the tattoo shop.
Right.
Every hour they work, they're paid for. It's livable. They definitely.
Which is honestly the most.
It's not some cheapskate under the table bullshit.
It's kind of the most important.
It's
part.
real money.
Yeah.
The adults can live off of. They learn the business inside and out, and how to deal with customers, and almost more importantly, how badly tattooers treat floor people and customers.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
And how not to treat people.
Yeah.
And then they watch me tattoo for a year, and ask questions, and we talk, and they come over and we work on machines and fuck around, and,
Right.
and then they practice for as long as they need to, but
then-
usually about a year.
And then eventually they'll make
And
their
then
way
they
into-
kind of start part-time on the floor as overflow, and then as they cut their chops, and then they get started.
And the entire time they're being paid.
Yeah. Like let's say I have an apprentice, and I want him to come over and help me in my yard and work that's not tattoo shop related, like bust ass. That is a test of how hard you're willing to work.
Right.
And then when we're done, I'm not going to tell you I'll give you $100 to come work in my yard for me.
Right.
But when we're done, I'm going to have bought you lunch that day and send you home
With a couple
gas
of
money
bucks.
plus.
Yeah. I mean,
I just don't think that's correct.
I think that's kind of from the standpoint of what you're asking of somebody. You're not asking them as a stranger. You're not asking them as an apprentice. You're asking them as a friend. If they kind of got your back.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I'm showing you that I'm doing this because I think you're going to make a good tattooer.
Right.
And I want you to be loyal to me, and not to like secretly hate me. I don't want to build some weird animosity where I can't wait to get away from this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I want to be like the people that I've taught to tattoo will stand up for me in a conversation.
Like how many people today do you think hear the word loyalty or respect and treat it like a dirty word? Like a young tattooer coming into the business, maybe on their own, or
I just think they throw it around. It's not so much that it's like look bad at that. It's just used. If you use loyalty to describe making it through a year apprenticeship and you paid your dues and now it's time to move on to another place to work with your friends,
Right.
you're misusing that word. Like, what are you going to use when some act of actual loyalty happens in your life? Like, you're out of fucking words, man.
Yeah.
You already used the best one.
That's kind of how I felt. The guy who apprenticed me, like, he used the word respect a lot, and then my thing was, you got to give it to get it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't assume because you're the owner, and that you asked me to apprentice that I automatically have respect for you. Like, I see the way you treat the other guys in the shop. I see the way you talk about clients when they leave here. I hear the shit you talk to other local tattoo shops. I mean, dude, and this guy he got bit in the ass a handful of times by the things he did and said behind other people's backs. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like, there's no respect. I have no respect.
So I'll even talk about a loss of mine, and I'll tell you one of the reasons why I'm like kind of changing I have changed my perspective of how I kind of look at tattooing and like where it's going and new tattooers. I'm going to teach people because they're going to learn on Amazon if I don't teach them.
Yeah, true.
And they're just going to look at you as the dickhead hard-on that wouldn't teach them and never gave them a chance.
Right.
And then when they actually get their chops up, and they're fucking gonna,
Oh, true.
then you're never considered as an option.
Right.
So I got to town in 2013. There was a shop in town that I will rename nameless. And they operated as a tattoo shop, but it was a couple of real estate people that pseudo-tattooed, and they ran a tattoo school.
Right. Okay.
And they was just cranking kids out. And somehow they had a really good eye for finding very talented people, and they found all these really talented kids and taught them all to tattoo. When I got to town, I saw the business, didn't respect the business model, let my opinion about the business model in the shop be known.
Which tattooers do.
And like I was just like, fuck that, And those people, being the savvy business people they were, and being smarter than me, used my own words against me and made it as though I was speaking about the tattooers that worked there and not their business.
Yeah.
And so they convinced all this whole generation of tattooers that they created themselves.
Yeah.
That luckily, I look at those people, the tattooers they taught now, and I'm like, wow, that they really taught some really excellent tattooers.
Right.
There.
Okay.
But I think those people were shortchanged coming in.
Yeah.
My personal opinion.
Well, but that's not
but
that's completely understandable considering.
But they totally flipped my shit on me.
Yeah.
And then kind of made a whole generation of kids that didn't consider me as an option for employment or to do their tattoos at my places. I don't like to call it employment. You know what I mean? But like,
No, yeah.
they didn't look at my shops as an option to want to work
They
at.
would never want to go to your spot.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to work there.
Yeah.
And it really kind of like made me self-reflect and be like, man, that was really fucking dumb. I could have just kept my mouth shut and, because I'm always nice to everybody I meet. It's like I could have just not been a grumpy dickhead.
Yeah.
Could have just not been a grumpy dickhead and maybe things would have been a little different.
It's hard. It's hard.
But all the same.
Yeah.
This is an example of something that I consider of, like we were talking earlier, our generation had our idols in tattooing, and we really, really held to every word they told us and that we heard from them because it was really hard to find anything.
Yeah.
Now this generation has everything at everybody's disposal, so I feel like we're like an episode of When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong. The Dave Chappelle skit.
Yeah.
And it's like we held to their guns for so long out of loyalty and respect.
Yes.
That we didn't adapt with society, and it kind of kicked some people in their ass.
Yeah.
And I personally, kind of recognized this quite a few years ago, and I've just always kind of treated everybody the same anyway.
Well, I think
I'm a
that's-
street shop tattooer, so I'm used to tattooing the plumber, the waiter, and the rock star.
I think that's an
Like,
important. That's smart and just an important way to be.
Yeah.
And I hear what you're saying about like kind of finding yourself on the prehistoric side of things because you want to keep things alive. And I think that's what one of the biggest issues, like you said, when you make those changes, how many of the younger generations are even keeping their eyes open for that because they've already got their eye on the prize.
Well, so now, what I'm noticing here in Columbus anyway, there's starting to be an exodus already of these private kind of studio loft type places where, 15 young artists pay rent for one address.
Yeah.
And to some rich corporate guy, landlord, as opposed to giving a cut to a tattooer for their strengthening tattooing.
That seems to be the big...
Or even opening their own shop
Yeah.
and having their friends work there and everybody do whatever kind of business you want to do.
Right.
But this whole renting and giving some rich person rent, the idea of giving a rich person rent is better than feeding into tattooing, to me is crazy thought.
It does try to go, but again, it's becoming the norm because I don't think people are going to like some of those people are not going to listen to your generation, and they're going to look at it as, well, this is just the way it is now.
See, but I think the thing is that a lot of younger tattooers really don't like corporate America.
No,
and I think that they're a little more socially thinking than we were when we were their age.
Maybe, but
the thing is, I think that maybe we've presented it in a poor way.
Oh, I agree with that.
You know what I mean? So maybe, and then maybe, I'm not saying for sure, but maybe if we find a better way of presenting it to them, maybe we won't become dinosaurs. Maybe we'll can stay contributors.
Right, exactly. Well, so I think the thing that frightens me with that is the fact that a lot of these kids are already brought up in that corporate mentality.
Sure.
They're not buying from tattoo supply companies anymore. They're buying off Amazon. I mean, that's the biggest corporation. That is probably the biggest.
And that fucks all of
on our
us.
side. Yeah.
So what we should all do is find positive, and I say, my idea is funny, ways of pointing this out that aren't like dickish.
Right.
Aren't like, oh, you fucking dildo pen, and oh, you fucking private studios fucking up too many goddamn tattooers. Yeah. We all know this.
Yeah.
If a kid wants a tattoo, they're going to go on Amazon and YouTube, and they're going to fucking tattoo now.
Yeah.
You can teach them how to be a real tattooer and the real love and respect and magic of tattooing,
right, and
further contribute to the real culture of tattooing surviving, or you can be a hard-on and disappear.
Right, exactly. Well,
in my opinion.
Well, it's almost
unless you're like the one. I'm personally not that guy. I gotta actually absolutely work every day of my life to stay relevant.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's
even locally.
It's funny. It's not even so much staying relevant, because that's one of the things I've had thrown in my face. Because I have used that word before, where it's like, well, I just want to remain relevant. It's not necessarily the case. I just want to work.
Yeah, I mean locally because the way I think is I don't think about like I got to get this customer or I got to get people to like me on the internet.
Right.
I think of I need to be someone that tattoo artists want to work with and work for.
Well, you also want to you also have an opinion, like and it's a good one that people can benefit from and that you can benefit from.
I want tattooers to think, I want older tattooers to think they can come and work at my place and relax and enjoy their ride and not have anybody busting their chops. I want book tattooers to come and know the same thing. I want young tattooers that are trying to develop clientele to know that they're going to come and develop those skills to finish that off.
Right.
And that everybody's going to help everybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, now I was saying, I've seen this influx of the private kids giving up on that quickly because it's a terrible business plan. But
I try to tell them.
Pay to play, dude. So anyways, we all know this. So now they're starting to chill. They're like, oh fuck, how am I going to develop anybody? So instead of being like, yeah, well, you fucking made your bed, dickhead, go fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? I bring them in, I give them a full. I'm not saying I'm hiring.
Right.
They're requesting interviews, which is pretty funny.
Well, that's amazing though. That's fantastic.
It's
you've broken through.
But it's kind of funny. It's like who requests an interview at a place that isn't hiring. So anyways, I interview them and I sit down with them. I look at their books. I try to throw them maybe one or two reasonable critiques. It's usually like look at more tattoo art.
Yeah, right.
And things like this. and then I tell them, either I'm not hiring, or these are the places in town that I respect.
Right.
Or if they maybe need a new apprenticeship or finished off.
I was gonna say, how many of these kids do you think that they come in that you look at their work and be like, yeah, this ain't gonna last forever?
That think they are professional tattooers right now.
Yeah.
That I think could actually work at a working street shop. I think 80% that I've met aren't ready for the real game.
Yeah, and so do you think that's why they're the ones?
And
that...
the 20% that are that's just that they have the potential. Not saying that they would step in and be like walk-on players,
right?
But they just have the actual. They're drawing tattoos.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not just painting oil paintings of Jimi Hendrix in high school.
Yeah, and then doing Pinterest tattoos.
Oh, my whole family told me I was a great artist,
Yeah.
and a lot of times they are.
Yeah.
And I don't discourage them from tattooing. I'm like, I can't teach you to tattoo because I already have a young lady learning from me, and until she's done, I don't teach anybody else.
Right.
But if you want to work for us, that's your best first step. Like, I hire from the desk.
Right.
So when you see us hiring for the desk, get a job. Maybe come get tattooed at the shops a lot.
That's something I think a lot of people don't realize.
And make sure you fit in.
Yeah.
Make sure it's where you want to be, because I know my shops, we joke around a lot. So if you're a total stick in the mud, you're not going to like us.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of nuances to working somewhere,
right,
that I think they're not taking into consideration.
Well, it's funny that you say that about getting tattooed or following the shop or whatever. Like we just had two artists reach out to the shop wanting to do a guest spot and this, that, and the other thing. And I went back to their Instagrams and I went and looked at what they did, and the work wasn't very good. And they're obviously, these, I'm not even gonna get into it, but work wasn't very good. And then I went and looked, and I'm like, they don't follow the shop. They don't follow me. They don't follow any of the guys in my, because I thought, well, maybe they follow Christian. Christian's like the artsy guy in the shop.
They're just cold calling.
They're literally just cold calling, and I'm just like, man, that's fucking ballsy, dude.
Yeah, I get it all the time.
Yeah, it kind of drives me nuts, because if I go to a city,
I always just open up like, oh, who's our mutual? What mutual friends do we have?
Like, why are you barking up this tree?
Do you have Columbus clientele?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what can it do for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know.
It's weird, and that was one of the things. He's like, oh, we got a couple of appointments, but we got time available, and I'm like, motherfucker, name a shop that's just taking in other people to do walk-ins. Like,
and it's not 2021 anymore, man. Nobody needs an extra walk-in guy this
exactly,
week.
That's just it. I mean, I've had, I had a couple of guys do that.
I try to give them the best advice I can give them. I'm like, come get tattooed all the time if this is the place you want to work at.
Right.
Here's 2 or 3 places I really respect. So if you can get on there in any capacity, that's where you should.
Right.
And here's 2 shitholes you could probably walk on.
And just get in.
Just get a job.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then get your chops up, go fuck their people up for a while. Get your chops up, and then when you get good, come talk to me. And honestly, that's been landing so much better.
Right.
Than I used to just like look at their shit and be like, I don't want to interview this person. Like, it's like obvious I'm not hiring them. So
yeah, but it's good that you're giving them, not that you're giving them the out, or you're giving them the knowledge in which to go to somebody else.
Yeah, and no matter how bad they are, I interview them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I take them seriously as humans.
So
and like, I think that little bit of respect and good treatment goes a long way.
Yeah.
And in 2025, that's not really asking that much.
No.
You know what I mean?
I've done the same thing. Like, we've had people come in, young women come in. We had 2 young women come in recently, and I've had friends be like, hey, would you talk to them? And I'm like, well, they can come in, tell them to bring some work, whatever. I was like, but we're not hiring. And I'll go out there, I'll talk, I'll first figure out the thing. I was like, here's the deal. We're not really looking, we're not hiring. Let me see what you got. And then they'll show me their portfolio, and they'll just be like, well, what do you recommend? Or I'll say, maybe work on some drawings of tattoos. Go into the magazines, see what you like. Magazines, Jesus Christ. Go into anything online. Look at some stuff.
You mean Reddit?
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
But look at some stuff and get a feel for what you want to do, and then gear your artworks towards that. And then get to know the motherfucker, the next tattooer you're going to get tattooed in that shop. Show them that you're not just here looking for a fucking apprenticeship, that you're looking to invest into their business. Or at the very least, just get to fucking know them. How many people do you know that have taken an apprenticeship and had to walk away or get fired because they just didn't get along with the guy, you know?
I hear about it a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't personally experienced it much.
But obviously you're not that guy.
My career's been pretty blessed.
Yeah.
In the category that I haven't had to watch a lot of stupid bullshit go on.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I went from working at Real Deal Operations where I learned that to Philadelphia Eddies to Old City Tattoo.
Right.
It's like,
and those are all legit.
Yeah, there's no fucking around.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, I've luckily never been at these places where people do ill shit, like, geez, like creepy shit or treating people bad or scamming people. It's like, if you did that shit at my shop, you would be fired with like the possibility of missing teeth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you touched like a lady inappropriately at my tattoo shop and I found out, I would beat the fucking brakes off.
How much of that do you think just has to do with your personal ethics and the way you run, the way you live your life? And the fact of the matter is you get surrounded by like-minded individuals.
I mean, I'm just personally, I don't know. I just feel like I just don't really put up with any bullshit when it comes to work.
Right.
Like I'm a pretty silly dude and I like to goof off. I even like to have fun at the shop, but professionalism is pretty important to me. And like, it's not that difficult to be a professional tattooer.
Especially when you're leading by example.
Yeah, the professional tattooers are pretty loose.
Yeah,
you know, you can talk about a lot of things while tattooing and still be considered a professional.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just certain standards I think you should hold yourself at, and if you don't, you should certainly take a step off.
Yeah, most certainly.
You know, there's been lots of stories coming out about shops that there's all kinds of crazy shit happening, and the more I hear about it, the more it blows my mind. And there was one locally that was insane. I'm not going to get into it or nothing, but it was like all over the world news.
Oh, I mean, well, that was.
I don't want to talk about it.
I mean, no, I'm not going to bring it up. But I think you can't
I'll tell you this: those things that happen, it's never like a street shop.
No,
it's always some place where all the doors are shut at every fucking booth.
Private studios.
And there's only one person working at like 11:30 at night till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's never like at my shops, you couldn't do anything ill because we have half walls. We're all talking shit and joking over the walls. Music's playing, and our customers that are getting large scale work and custom work, they love that environment. Just like, you know, if they need privacy, we put a screen up around the booth. Right. But I mean, people, I think, appreciate that use of group safety. You know?
So, and that's
because you don't hear about that shit at real street shops.
It's not during. Well, that's the thing that gets you is like I've had conversations with people where I talk about, like, they mention safe spaces. They say my client wants this, my client wants that, and I get that.
You're supposed to be a safe space.
Thank you. It's like it should be a safe. I don't need to advertise that it's a safe space, that everybody is welcome, because it's just the way it is.
Yeah, there was a big ordeal going on locally with shops, and my managers were like, should we post that we're a safe space? I'm like, no. Like, we've been a safe space for 25 years.
Yeah, I was going to say,
pretty good.
What do you say? The safe space since
now we're good.
Since 2013,
no,
whatever.
It's like, yeah, man, like, I think if you just do what you're supposed to do, you know.
Well, but do you think that we live in a day and age that if it's not spelled out for certain individuals, because I mean, the fact is we do, from a politically charged environment that we live in today, you know what I mean? Everybody assumes that the world is against them. Sure. You know, they're against my sexuality, they're against what I believe in, they're against my whatever. Do you think that that's what people are kind of, I want to say, almost almost preying on, because they know that there's a clientele base for them that they need to be told that, because you're not going to be the one to tell them that. So I'm going to bank on that, and that's where I'm going to get my clientele from.
It's kind of hard to. It's
I mean,
that's
shit. That's me shitting on.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
it's
lot
kind
of
of hard. I'm on camera, dude.
Well, that's the point.
No, but it's kind of hard to really say what someone else's intentions are.
Right.
You know, I'll say I've certainly seen people take unfortunate things that happen and kind of use it online to gain traction.
Right. I look at what
And not be that I was treated poorly at the shop or to the worst thing that ever fucking could possibly be imagined happening.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It could be like this sliding scale of, you know, the guy that owned the place was a dick to like, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, there's a pedophile ring out of his shop.
It's like what the fucking.
I can't help but think that a lot of the ways that certain things and phrases are being thrown around, it's the newest version of award-winning artists. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're award-winning artists. Like, yeah, what the fuck is that? Well, yeah, but it's the new thing.
Yeah, I'm not gonna overstate the obvious in my life. You know what I mean? It's like, of course, this is safe. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, what am I gonna wear a sign that says I'm carrying a gun? Of course I'm carrying a gun. Look at me. No, I'm just joking. That was just to be funny.
Well, but
overstating the obvious is, in a way, to me, placating the cause.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, if you believe in something, you just don't contribute to that problem.
Right.
And if you decide to be very vocal about not contributing to that problem, then that's for you to do.
Yeah.
I'm personally not a very political person. I have, like, of course,
You have your
I have my standards that I live by and how I treat human beings, you know, which is, you know, I think, well, you know.
Yeah.
I try to treat them well.
Yeah.
Politics to me is all phony TV bullshit.
Well, especially I think that's been brought to light.
Yeah, I just don't.
More the last.
I've never
10
voted
years.
in my entire adult life because no rich person represents who I am as a human being. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't play that game, so in a way, I don't. It's nice, especially now having been so conditioned to not playing that game.
Yeah, right.
To now, I'm just like so blind to everybody's like, what about this? I'm like, dude, I read about Bigfoot. I read about Paul Rogers, man. Like, I don't know shit about politics or what's going on in the world. My wife and I, we don't watch the news. We like to watch funny things and artistic things, and we like to be outside.
Right.
And it's like, oh.
Well, let's.
I think that how humans treat each other, adapted, changing, I think is better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's cool. I think if someone if it takes a very small adjustment to make someone feel like they're being treated with respect, I'm super willing to do that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if it means me learning something new or changing a pattern of behavior or speech or something. To me, that's not a big deal.
No, and I think that's there are certain clients that I have to.
I'm middle-aged,
yeah.
So it's like I'm not young and hip, and I'm not old, and like, oh, that's adorable. He's old.
Yeah,
I'm like, I have to learn still. I have to
you
still
have
change.
you have to curb your attitude, the way you talk, and I mean there are just certain clients
I gotta learn
you
what
have to be
for real, no cap means.
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? I have to use it in sentences sometimes. You know, it's like I have 20, 30 more years in this, man.
Yeah, right.
So I literally have to. I literally have to. It's my job to learn how the new tattooers want their environment curated.
right. Exactly.
It's not their job to fucking force me to force feed them what to do.
Right. Exactly.
You know, it's like the job's changing, and if we're going to live through it, I think we got to change a little bit with it.
Well,
and
so
that's not to say throw all the rules out the window, but I do think that we could adjust some things.
Right.
You know.
Well, on that subject, you're about to go through some stuff. We talked about this, and you only want to touch on it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important, and I love the fact that it's you and someone like Tim Hendricks that are going to kind of be, it's safe to say you're spearheading this, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Sure.
You know?
So Tim and I met at Pagoda City last year, and we were just shooting the shit, and we were comparing like thoughts about tattooing, and we both whipped out these notes in our phones about like, man, it would be cool if we could get tattooers to kind of get together, and instead of getting 5 minutes to talk in between tattoos or getting to talk while we're wasted at the bar after the floor or something like that, that we actually get like quality time to discuss current topics. And seeing as, in my opinion, corporate interests have their crosshairs on the idea of the street shop.
Yeah.
And here's my theory. Street shop owners that do well eventually become small suppliers. The first move they did was to make it almost impossible to be a small supplier.
Yeah.
So the next move is going to be to buy up all the tattoo shops and then make it an hourly job. These billion-dollar companies will start buying people out. And that is going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've seen it I think in a much, much smaller scale when you have just regular business people going in, and scarily, it's a lot of these like Europeans that are bringing in other Europeans. And this isn't, I'm not trying to be bigoted or anything like that, but there's shops in Manhattan that they hire only these Eastern European artists that they're bringing over, they're helping with the paperwork, and they're getting paid by the hour. And they're getting paid pennies, and this is something I've known has been happening since like early 2000s, where I had guys coming into me and they were working for. I'm not going to get into what where they were from, but these cats are working for these guys and they're getting paid pennies, and it's like, well, you want to work in the city? I'm giving you a place to work, and so now I think we're seeing it. It's been around, but I think now we're seeing
it's going to start getting more.
Now it's going to be more planned
in other cities.
Yeah.
So I feel like big money goes into things like the algorithm on Instagram and things like this, and to making content to promote this idea of self-made right out the gate. You should be working by yourself and all this. Fuck learning, fuck apprenticeships, fuck street shops, fuck shop owners, fuck percentages, all this stuff. I think it's all a clever corporate play to get everyone to go every man for themselves.
Yeah.
And then to keep anyone from amassing any sort of traction. And then when they make the move, then you're all going to have to be employees for these people.
Right.
They've already played every tattooer into their pocket as suppliers. Mm-hmm. How many tattooers, and if you're watching this and you tattoo, man, here's let's start today. Buy your supplies from someone that makes it, that's a tattooer.
Yeah.
Buy tattooer made supplies. I just got my first tariff bill on tattoo supplies.
No shit.
It was fucking insane. I'm gonna start buying from Tim's company because it's American made.
Oh, dude,
they don't have the tariffs.
It's an unfortunate thing because like
I ordered $250 worth of tubes from Canada, and I got a $108 tariff bill. After the fact, I paid my shipping. It came. Yeah. Then FedEx sent me a letter from Homeland Security with a bill for $108.
Yeah, I get a lot of my stuff from Electric Ink out of Brazil, and I'm waiting. I ordered everything before the last tariffs went into effect, but I'm probably a couple of months away from it. And, I mean, who knows where it's going to change.
So I just think that one thing tattooing can do to make tattooing stronger is think about where their money goes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we want to talk about in the Street Shop Syndicate is ways that we can explain to the younger generations of tattooers and the future generations of tattooers of where you're spending your money and where it's actually going. Because I do think that today's young tattooer cares about that. Because they care about whether or not the person at the shop dresses like them or identifies with the same politics as them.
Right.
They're all pretty anti-corporate. which is good. So I think we maybe need to stop being like, oh, these young dickheads. And why don't we, as the older people and the people who've been doing this longer, find a more palatable way of explaining these simple things to them?
Right.
Kind of using the platforms that they like instead of like, I'm 46. If I got on my fucking Facebook Live, I was like, oh, fucking blah, 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 blah. Who am I talking to? I'm talking to you and other tattooers like us.
Dude, there's a reason why I've said with the podcast it's only gone so far because I am who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not trying. I'm exactly who you're talking to when it comes to you need to. And I've tried. I'm not saying that I'm not trying.
I've had the conversation with every tattooer friend of mine.
It's like so. I realize that I'm only going to appeal to a certain amount of people, and there are a handful of younger cats that have gravitated towards my platform because of the things I've said, because of the things I say that other people won't say.
Sure.
But I do realize that is a very, very narrow fucking group of individuals.
Yeah, I'll kick it to you as straight as I fucking can, without a doubt.
Right.
I just happen to have started thinking about the world of tattooing differently a while back.
Yeah.
So it's not like a new concept that I'm trying to be like, well, I should probably be. I have 20-some people, tattooers working between the 3 shops, 21 or 23.
That's a lot, yeah.
And they range from ages of 23 to 53.
Yeah.
So I have to identify with different generations of people and understand their troubles and what they want out of tattooing and where their styles are going. Like it's so easy to kind of write off a style that you don't dig.
Yeah.
But you ain't fucking getting the tattoo.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, as a shop owner, I think it's important that you cater to the clients that these people bring in. You can't just look at things from the perspective of this is a street shop. We only do this style work.
No way. That's not what a street shop means.
Yeah,
street shop means you do every style.
That's
work.
Exactly.
My shops, I have somebody that does everything.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to get personalities to mix. When you have that, like it'd probably be a lot easier to have a bunch of dudes that do traditional tattoos sitting around hating on everybody.
All this story in the fucking book.
But I get it to work.
Yeah.
I get it to work. I find the right people. Yeah. And honestly, the shops kind of police themselves. Like I tell people when they're hired, it's like you're going to adapt to here or you're not going to want to work here.
Exactly.
Like these guys all work good as a team, and you're either going to join the team and have a great long. Like I'd say people work a maximum of 3 months for me, or a minimum of 3 years.
Okay.
So it's like at 3 months, you're either gone, or you're staying at least 3 years.
Yeah. How do you have much of a turnover at your shops? If you don't mind me asking.
I have a lot of chairs, man. Yeah. My main seats. No, I got guys from the top 2/3 of each shop have been there 3 years or longer.
Okay.
I got guys and gals that have been there 10 years or more.
Yeah.
I've had people that have been there 10 years or more and left and, went to do other things and stopped tattooing, all kinds of different shit.
I think a lot of it's got to do with age. I mean,
it's been 13 years of owning shops.
Yeah.
13 years of owning shops, 12 of which I had 2, and 10 of which I've had 3.
Right.
So, yeah, there's some turnover. Plus, if somebody's not going to mix with my team, I just fucking clip them.
You don't want to deal with it.
I'm not going to, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And it's like, you get your chance to fit in and get with the program, or, if you start flipping shit early, it's just, I don't really.
You don't want to deal.
I'm all business, man. Like I said before, I treat the job like a career. Right. And it's like, if you're not ready to play championship level winning baseball, you can't be on the team.
Yeah, right.
You're still in the minor
Well,
leagues.
I think that's why you might be the right spearhead or the right guy for the job when it comes to maybe breaking down some boundaries and getting people to see things from a different perspective, or just open their horizons a little bit, because it requires somebody like that. It's going to require somebody that can play ball on both sides without alienating everybody. Yeah. And I think, having said that, I don't think it's going to matter in the long term, because there are going to be people that are going to be dead set against it. Anything. I mean,
the hater versus liker ratios already.
Yeah, I think the thing that freaks me out about the world we live in today, and Paul Booth made a good point, what's happening in the world outside of tattooing has now started to affect tattooing, where before we were always the outsiders.
Yeah.
No matter what was going on politically, you had guys that were diehard one way or the other, but what happened on the outside never really affected the inside. It's only been maybe the last 10, 12 years, 10 years, where we see it now, where things that are happening on the outside are really affecting what's going on here.
Yes.
You know?
Well, with the Street Shop Syndicate as well, it's like, Tim and I, we're organizing this. We don't own it. It's not some kind of group people are joining. Hopefully we can have a meeting every year, and if it has so much interest, maybe it becomes multiple days.
Yeah.
I think we're going to move it around the country, to other people that want to host it. But everybody's going to have equal voice to us.
Right.
There's no bylaws, there's no membership. It's literally, we just wanted to get tattooers that we respect in a room.
It's an open discussion.
Yeah, it's open
I think
forum.
that's an important thing. Like,
Now, we are keeping the discussion off the internet. It's a discussion for us.
Right.
And like, it's not a YouTube tutorial.
Right.
It's not for sale. It's not. No one there's making money. No one there selling a product. We are not commercializing or posting the meeting.
yeah.
It's not for sale.
I think
it's
the thing
only for tattoo.
I think the thing, and I mentioned this to you before, there were things in our industry that were for our peers. Like if you were discussing pricing, if you were discussing how you do certain things in your business, how you treat your clients, doing redraws, whatever. These were things that took place in the back rooms of shops amongst tattooers.
Yeah.
Now you've got guys trying to sell packages to other tattooers to say, oh, this is how you should be doing things.
To make money doing anything other than tattooing.
And that's the thing that kind of drives you a little crazy, is it turns into this.
I respect the hustle, though.
Yeah, but
what I mean? And a sucker's born every minute and two to take them. So if you're a sucker and I think I could take you, and you got 10 buddies that want tooken too, I'm taking y'all.
Well, so
I wouldn't like sell tattooing for that.
Right.
But if I had some other hustle that was comparable, I don't hate on a hustle.
Yeah.
Tattooing's a hustle. I've
Well,
been tricking
I
people
agree
into
with that,
thinking
but
my art is good for decades.
my biggest argument, my biggest argument with that has always been when the hustle becomes the norm. That's fucked up, and that's where I think we need to kind of pull away from a little bit. That everything that is a hustle now, and now I'm teaching you how to hustle, you're teaching somebody else how to hustle, and before you know it, it's a fucking pack of wolves.
Yeah, it costs you fucking. I've been to conventions where it's like $250 to take a picture with a person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy.
By the way, you owe me $17,000 for this conversation. You get my invoice in the mail. To me, I don't know. I think I still consider tattooing just like a working job. Yeah. So we kind of wanted to build what would hopefully become a guild or almost a union-ish type of thing where we can all meet and talk and share ideas and maybe hold ourselves, maybe as a group, we can talk amongst smart people to establish a new standard to hold ourselves to pass to the next generation for them to then evaluate and adjust then.
Well, and that's the thing.
It's not gonna, like, whatever we come up with of how we think we're gonna hand this to the next generation, that's not the golden rule.
No, you need that next generation in the room
adjust it again
while this conversation is happening, so that they can throw their 2 cents in and talk some sense into you.
And that's why the way we did the invites is Tim and I picked a certain amount of invites we were going to send out each to people we respected.
Right.
And then we empowered them to invite anybody else they respect that works at a street shop.
Right.
And we're like, managers, piercers, young tattooers, old tattooers,
people that can bring something to the table.
Anybody that you respect, and because everybody has experiences they can bring in. Like, you might hear some young kid come in and lay some crazy app on everybody nobody knows about.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
changes the whole fucking game.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's like the days of it being like, well, I know how to do it, so you can't tell me nothing. Man,
Yeah.
this fucking game is changing every second.
You know, it's funny you should say that because I've had a bunch of people reach out recently and bring up things like that, like, oh, what about it, you know, we're trying to do this and we're trying to bring more education and we're trying to, and there are times where I sit back and I look at the situation. I've heard people do such similar stuff, and I always try to keep an open mind.
So I'm careful with stuff like that because then you're also opening the door to the government to put their fucking toes into it.
Well, this has already happened. I don't think there's any coming back.
But when you start
from that.
using words about education and stuff, it's like, yeah, you should teach the people that work for you more. But establishing standards and stuff is like,
well, I
that's
think
a dangerous territory.
well, I mean, look what's happening with the pigments right now. I mean, the fact that, you know, right now in this country, and I don't want to speak for anything, but I mean, the majority of the biggest companies, the biggest pigment companies, are owned by conglomerates, and they will do whatever the fuck they're told because that's how they're going to make the money.
I know quite a bit about it, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's one of the things. I mean, you know, one of the things we talk about is, again, where you're spending your money.
Yeah.
Like, look up the companies and who actually owns them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention any companies by name, but I guarantee if a lot of the people watching this open their drawer and take out every item in their drawer and look up the manufacturer of that item, and I'm talking the average tattooer, so maybe, you know, just everybody turned into a bare average.
Yeah.
Right? No ups, no downs. Everybody's this, right? I bet 88% of the products in those drawers are owned by 2 umbrella corporations.
Yeah.
That will remain nameless. But you should read about it.
You know who they are.
But we all fucking know.
Yeah.
So I think that if tattooing wants to develop something that is really meaningful within tattooing, I think the very first step is to keep our money within ourselves.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's something I've been saying.
And you
for a
don't
while.
got to work at my shops.
Yeah.
But you should open a shop and have people working at a tattoo shop, and not pay 15 rents for one address to a rich person.
Yeah.
That is absolutely hustling backwards, and that person's just going to have you in their pocket forever. You're never going to build that unless you're the one. You know, there are the chosen ones, and there are the unicorns that exist. That I can think of a few locally that run their own private place and even work in one of these 15 rents for one corporate space places, and they're wonderful tattooers, and it seems like they make a solid go of it.
Right.
I'm not going to hate because it does exist.
Right. Yeah.
I would say the percentage of people that should be doing that versus the percentage of people that are doing that is pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, I think at this point, I don't think there's any getting around that based on the amount of tattooers that are out there right now, and a bunch of people who don't want to work for somebody else.
I interviewed a kid that did a 3-year apprenticeship with a guy at a private studio, has been on the floor for a year, has done 7 tattoos, all trash polka, emphasis on the trash. You know? And I'm like, you ever draw like a name, or have you ever done the beep 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 hope beep beep beep, you know? And you ever done the loopy with the always, you know? Oh no, I'm like, you ever answered the phone at a tattoo shop? No.
It's like, oh, we have a service.
Like they don't know anything.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, unfortunately, someone tricked you into thinking you're a professional tattooer, and to really work at a shop, you would have to take an apprenticeship.
Right.
And then that, I think, is heard as a huge insult.
Right.
You know?
Well, I think, you know, one of the things I think that needs to be considered too is also educating the clientele a little bit more, because they've been brought up with a new generation of tattooer, and they've changed the way clients think about the way tattoos should be put on the skin, the appearance of a tattoo shop when they walk in there, the attitudes of tattooers when they walk into the shops. Like, I think that the clients have, the way they treat the tattoo. Oh, I got to leave a deposit. I got to give you 48 hours notice before I don't show up for my appointment.
See, I think that the standard of client has went up in the last 10 years.
Really?
And the standard of tattooer has went down.
I think
I feel
they
like
run
the
hand
work
in hand.
ethic of tattooer versus client understanding of what a good tattoo shop is has drastically, because I don't think it's not the customer's job to know what the fuck is going on. It's our job to explain it to them.
Agreed.
And sell them the job.
Agreed.
If they knew what was going on, they wouldn't need us, So it's like, I've never understood that part of the disconnect with people. I'm a people person. I'll sell you anything.
Right.
You want the rest of this coffee, I can get $7 out of that. I just, I never quite understood how people don't get that. Like they expect people to understand everything, have great ideas when they walk in the door. Like, of course they have shitty ideas. They're not artists.
Right, exactly.
They're hiring an artist, dude. Like, you ever done a commission piece of work for somebody? It's a fucking nightmare,
I was
dude.
gonna say that's what tattooing is.
That's what tattooing is.
Yeah.
You're working off commission.
Yeah, exactly.
Commission work for someone on their skin.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just can't imagine. I used to do like advertisements for Camel. Draw their ads, and I just couldn't imagine if they were like, draw this again. Me being like, they would instantly replace you with someone else.
Well, I mean, dude, we saw that go viral in our industry a couple of years ago when somebody sells a scheme that gets passed around to hundreds of fucking tattooers, and out of those hundreds of tattooers, you probably only have 2 or 3 that are probably worthy enough to use that scheme, where the other ones are just bottom feeders who are just taking advantage of a situation because they were told that's just the way it's done now.
Yeah.
And that's where I say the hustle becoming the norm.
Sure.
And that's where I think it becomes dangerous, Another thing, so we were talking earlier, Jimmy Litwalk and Jonathan Gearhart and myself are going to be doing this thing in Dayton at the end of this month. And the idea behind it is like getting what you mentioned earlier, before we started the cameras, was one of the best things that can happen at a convention or at one of these seminar weekenders that you sat in on and stuff is the end of after a while everybody's done talking and everybody goes to the bar or to a common spot and we all start to draw, we all start to talk, we all start to interact as peers. There's no rock stars, there's no bullshit, it's just people talking. We miss that, you know what I mean? And Jimmy has been talking for years, like, we just need to do this. And, it starts small amongst, in social settings of guest spots. Where, we're gonna work all day, we're gonna go to dinner, we're gonna come back, we're gonna draw, we're gonna fucking get a couple guys together, we're gonna paint, we're gonna do whatever. There are guys in the business now that they're charging for fucking weekenders. We're gonna do this. It's gonna cost you X amount of dollars, and we're gonna go and ride motorcycles and we're gonna talk and do this. But you got to pay to be part of it.
Yeah.
So these guys are basically hosting this hoedown thing in Dayton, the end of the month, and it's basically just, hey man, just come on out. Like you said the same thing. It's like, well, is it an invite only thing? I'm like, no, dude, just come on out. I mean, we've never done it before, and this is something Jimmy and I both stressed. Take everything with a grain of salt. Yeah. Hopefully it works out great. We have enough art supplies and chairs and whatever. But yeah, man, it's just a matter of getting motherfuckers together and just like-minded way of thinking and just sharing information on painting, colored pencils, fucking whatever you bring. To the painting.
We wanted everybody to have an equal voice at the Street Shop Syndicate meeting. So we're trying. We only rented a small room because we didn't think very many people would be interested.
Right.
Like to get tattooers to do anything for free is outlandish already, So,
exactly, yeah.
So, but we found like a place, a hotel that rented. I paid for the hall out of my pocket because I figured everybody's gonna buy a plane ticket and a hotel room.
Right.
So I'll just pay for the hall. That way I'm in it the same amount as you are. And then we got a hotel room block for cheap rooms.
Right.
And then
during the thing, we're doing food and refreshments, and it's like $47 to get in. That covers the food and refreshments.
Dude, I think
That's it.
I think it's
You know?
great that you guys are taking this in, because that's something I've often said. You mentioned it with tattoo suppliers. You know, you mentioned it with. I mean, we've all been saying this with tattoo conventions. You know what I mean? You need to support. You know,
Even machine builders. I mean, if you use a pen or a rotary, there are plenty of tattooer-made pens and rotary machines.
a lot of unfortunately, a lot of those have been bought out too, and they're no longer.
There's still some. I just happened to have made a list recently.
I'm glad to hear that. We were just down in Miami. Emerson is one of those people. You know what I mean?
We're working on compiling a database.
Which is smart, because I think that's one of the things that keeps people.
Of where you should shop.
Yeah.
And it's not so much a let's shit talk these brands. It's more of here's where you should shop.
Yeah. I mean, because like you said, if you don't make people aware, they don't even know.
I'd rather pay. I tell you this. I'd rather pay 30% more for drape sheets from a tattooer than save 30% and pay one of these umbrella corporations any more money.
Right.
They already own us, man.
So
Like,
it's funny.
Why not? It's like when you gamble, when you play poker with your buddies, right? And you and your buddies and your friends come over and you're playing poker or you're gambling. Somebody's walking away with that money, right? If you guys can all go to the casino, you're all getting wiped out by the casino.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's all play team ball.
Yeah.
As tattooing.
Well, I think it's like
and some of us will win.
It's like late night. It's like late night at a convention. Everybody sits down to play CeeLo. Nobody's letting a stranger in the fucking room to play.
Yeah, right.
Because God forbid that cocksucker wins.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's he's walking out with no teeth.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing is, I'd much rather play and have one of my friends win, or maybe I could win.
Yeah.
Or somebody sitting in the room that's an actual human being wins.
Right.
Hopefully everybody.
Yeah.
You know, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's possible.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of tattoo customers. I just think shops need to find a better way and less. I say this, I'm a pretty competitive dude, but the competitive nature of tattooing needs to chill. Like, if you respect someone, you should maybe talk with them instead of being competitive
Right,
so much.
right,
You know,
right.
like, you know, I got a lot of cats that, you know, I'm kind of friends with, you know, and I'll do something at my shops and then I'll see it happen at their shops.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, I don't give a shit, you know, that doesn't bother me.
I think
that's the competitive nature of the game,
Yeah.
right? But I think that if they'd have called me and been like, hey man, I've been seeing you've been doing this. I had this other idea. What do you think about this? Maybe we could have both adjusted our shit and both have a better scheme. Because it's not like we're not really fighting over customers.
Right.
You know, I think the true fight is for tattoo culture. It's not for customers. It's sort of for tattooers,
Right?
Because you want to entice more to the goods. You want more to come to the light than the dark,
True.
right? But really, you just want the tattoo culture to survive,
Right.
So, and to do that, we have to share.
I think we have to
You
share
know?
in a sense too,
Yeah.
because you want everything to look. You want it to look good.
Yeah.
You want it to look professional. You want it to. You got to put your best foot forward.
And I'm not saying put YouTube videos out explaining how to do this and that and so forth. But if you have a kid that maybe isn't a great tattooer, but is a great person,
Right.
and works hard, maybe bring her or him on and make them. You can make a hard worker a better artist.
Right. Exactly.
You can't make a shithead a cool dude or a cool lady.
Not
You know
without
what
a
I mean?
fucking brain transplant.
Yeah,
half the
you
time.
you can't adjust people's attitudes.
Yeah.
You can make them better at working at the tattoo shop.
Right.
Though, you know.
Right.
So I just kind of feel like that kind of thinking is more of what I consider the future of tattooing than the alternative.
Right.
And like, that doesn't make it reality. That's just what I would like to think.
Right.
And what I'm going to share with other people when I meet with them and we talk shop.
Right.
You know, that's a couple of the points that, you know, I have, like, you know, basically get your money out of corporate businesses.
Yeah. I hope, I really
know,
honestly hope that you, I mean, like I said, I wanted to be there, but I doubt I'll be able to, but I'm going to try. I love the idea of that, and I wish you the best of luck on that. And I think, like you said, I think if you're able to get some headway with that, it might actually inspire other individuals to do just that and create these businesses to pull away from those industries.
Like I said, we rented a small space and like we had no idea, but like 1,000 people have asked to come.
Do you want to tell people the dates, or I'll put all the information in the.
We're capping it.
Oh no, I understand
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
but what I'll do is I'll talk about it later. Normally I put your Instagram. I could do this. I could do the site. I could do all that in the description, but we'll talk about that after.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fact, you know?
The with the Street Shop Syndicate for now, until we have this first meeting, we're capping it for the time being because we already have more people than we can really hear speak.
House, yeah.
I think we can house everybody barely.
Yeah.
But the amount of people we're gonna have be able to speak and actually be heard in 8 hours. And all have the equal platform
And make it
and not
make
be
sense for
me
everybody.
dictating shit to you
Yeah.
or you fucking eating up all your time bitching about little
Yeah.
pens. You know what I mean? You know, I don't want to. It's gonna take us a little bit to get past what we're used to talking
Right,
about
exactly.
anyway, to break into what's the deeper topics to begin
Right,
with.
right.
And like you were saying, it not being a monetary thing, I think makes it for tattooing. And if this doesn't work out, and it turns out to nothing, right? I'm sure that the artists there will have a good day and have fun.
Again, just being amongst your friends.
For me, I just want to have tried. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna just sit and bitch the rest of my life and complain about something that maybe conversations can fix.
Yeah.
And if I got organizing skills, I can get people together. So this is my idea of how I think I can help tattooing right now.
Right.
And it just by organizing, getting smart people in a room to talk to one another.
I think it's a killer idea. When Jimmy told me about
Lots
it,
of folks are like, "You guys starting a tattoo gang? Let's go fuck some people up." I'm like, "Buddy, whoa.
I'll bring the mason jars full of
Jeez
gas.
Louise, dude.
No, I think that I think there's a large contingent of tattooers that want to see those days come back.
But do they, man?
No, nobody does.
Yeah, I hear people say that shit.
People have
but-
too much to lose.
Yeah, dude, I'm only 46, and I remember a gnarlier time.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call it necessarily gnarly.
No, I mean,
and like most of the people, I don't know. I think that people talk shit, and it sounds cool to be like, "I think we should fuck this dude up if he opens up down the street."
Yeah.
But then that dude opens up down the street, and they're like, "Fucking asshole."
yeah, it's
It's
funny.
Like, it's like shut that shit up,
being
man.
from the island, it was such a small place like Long Island. It's like I was never there when shit went down, but I heard and saw the aftermath, and a lot of it was kind of like, oh shit.
Well,
but it was also being performed by people who had very little to lose. You know what I mean? For other people.
It's performative.
You know,
It's
yeah,
performative.
Exactly, yeah.
And the ironic part is, all the people that I know in my life, including myself, that will bite your fucking nose off your face, are usually pretty funny and nice people.
Yeah, exactly. It's not until you push them to that edge.
They're not really like tripping on folks, really.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So, I enjoy this game of tattooing, and I would like to see the magic of it live longer than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd like to see the scales tip, because I don't even as is, I don't think so the bulk of tattooing is kind of kids that don't have a clue,
Right.
and like don't see the forest for the trees, right? And then you have this chunk of tattooing that's like keeping it real and gets all the magic, right? There's no way these dudes spend their whole lives tattooing without starting to
Kind of edge in.
and they're like, oh, I didn't realize, oh. You know, like, because, I have kids that come work for me from places that are less reputable, but they seem like good kids.
Right.
And it's like, you watch the minds. Just
Well, I think that, like I said,
explode
I've
open.
often said I don't think the magic is ever going to die, because there's always going to be that rebel alliance of individuals that are just not going to go anywhere. They're going to continue to toe the line, and they will bring, I mean, and make it smaller and smaller. But like you said, when you start educating the other side, and then they see how bright, how green the grass is on one side, there are people going to make those changes. And again, you know, I haven't given up on any of it. You know what I mean? I mean, I talk shit, but that's more just out of frustration and fun than anything else. It's not.
It's fun to holler and carry on about it. I just happen to work with, you know, a bunch of younger people, so I see it a lot differently. I interview a lot of younger people, and, you know, just, I don't know, I'm immature myself, you know? Like, I just don't really, I don't see a future for me personally in the business
If it doesn't make some slight changes.
if I don't,
Oh, good point.
if I don't adjust with tattooing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think I talked to a lot of my friends that own shops around the country, and they're all saying these same frustrating things about their businesses and about, oh, I can't get guys to work here, or nobody wants to work, or, you know, the tattoo artist this, and there's too many of these and that. And if they're all saying the same kind of thing, and then I'm like, well, have you ever tried like this? Well, I'm not going to do that. That guy sucks. This sucks. I'm not going to do that. And it's like, well, you're holding yourself to this impossible standard.
And that, well, I think you're holding yourself to a standard that no longer exists.
And the only option of us ever really reaching that standard now is for you personally to share that standard with someone else.
Yeah.
You know, and to like, I love the, you know, the gatekeep tattooing stickers. Those are cool, you know. But I mean, really, as an idea, I don't know that that's. I don't think we put it on YouTube necessarily.
Right.
We don't share the magic. You know.
Well,
up in
but
the air.
that's.
But I think we find people that are deserving,
Right.
and we're a little more open.
Yeah.
And maybe when people come to the shops to get jobs, and they don't look like you, or you don't identify with them, or you don't recognize their work as something you like,
Yeah.
maybe don't be such a hard on about it.
Keep an open mind about
Think
stuff.
about it. Like you kind of, tattooers are kind of starting to sound like, I don't like a goddamn rock and roll music. You know, it's kind of starting to sound like that to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not old school, I'm middle school. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm 46, I've been tattooing for 23 years, half my life. I'm literally middle school.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I kind of see both sides of the coin. Like,
Well, I think, again,
the kids ain't all wrong.
No, oh, agree.
You know, but the kids ain't all right.
Exactly.
Rock and roll, baby. But you know what I'm saying? But I think that as the elder statespeople, maybe we think about taking the mature route and changing our game a little bit.
Yeah. Like the adult in the room needs to maybe fucking lighten up.
Step up. Do you love it or not?
Yeah.
Do you love it? Because I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I can to make sure that we try to do it to where it lasts another 30 or 40 years as we recognize it.
Exactly.
Is it possible? I don't know. You know, everybody wants these answers for me about this meeting, and I'm like, me and Tim are like, we have no idea, dude.
Yeah.
Come find out.
Just exactly. That's a good way to put it, man. That's
We
a good
wish
way
we
to
could
put it.
invite everybody.
Yeah.
We wish it could be some huge thing. We wish it didn't defeat the purpose to post it online.
Everything starts
You know what I
with
mean? But
everything starts with small steps, and that's the only way. That's
well,
the way
that's
to go
another
about
thing
it.
for everybody to keep in mind is that seeing the response to it. If we can make heads or tails out of a group conversation, we will be doing it again.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it would, I'm sure, will become bigger.
I think good ideas always manage to spread, and somebody wants to continue it.
Yeah.
And again, I think when you take the money part of things out, you have more incentive to make the time that you spend worthwhile.
Yeah. Nobody's trying to come there and waste their time and money.
Exactly.
You know, like we're all donating our time. So let's like it says, you know, we've said it as we're trying to do it. It's like if you have a beef or something with somebody there, you don't agree, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You'll have your turn to talk. If you want to spend that time bitching about somebody else in the room, then I guess that's how you're going to spend your time. And it seems
right.
stupid to me.
Yeah.
You have your whole life to bitch. And even if y'all want to fight each other, I got a backyard. Saturday, dude, we can run them in the backyard, dude. That would be awesome. I don't think
You
that
televise it and pay for the whole weekend.
Yeah, that'll like pay for everybody's hotel room, dude.
All right, I think that's a good place to end. Unless there's something else you want to fucking definitely touch on, or
No, man, just tattooing's easy to love, and people should make sure they're doing it every day.
yeah,
You know, don't fucking hate on your job. Don't hate on your customer. It's stupid. You know, like the average American worker makes so much less money than the average tattooer, and they bust their fucking ass for it.
Yeah.
And then they save up scraps of what they got left after they pay their bills, and then they fucking pile it up, and then they bring it to us and
they give it to us,
in 2
exactly.
fucking hours. They give it to us. It's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
And then we fucking spend it on fucking drugs and strip clubs and shit. That's ridiculous. And
I
you're
agree
bitching about
wholeheartedly.
that, dude. Come on now.
I agree
And
wholeheartedly.
even at our worst moment in my career of tattooing is right now.
Yeah.
In tattooing. And it ain't that fucking bad, man. It's
It
a
could be
pretty
worse.
cool. I mean, we're inside.
Yeah.
Our bellies are full. We're
I was gonna
smiling.
say, it's
you
like,
got
you
a
know,
camera.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't sell everything.
No, I agree. I mean, I'll never begrudge anything that this business has given me. You know, no, even things have gotten rough. I think the only concerns I have is that I want to continue to do this for another 20 years.
Yep.
And that's it. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah, I just
57
don't-
years old. I want to be one of the old guys that is still able to do what he loves to do.
If I'm put out of business, I want it to be because tattooing got so good that I couldn't hang anymore.
Yeah, that's a.
I don't want it to be because I got suffocated by some corporate prick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I
Exactly.
don't want it to be because I got snuffed out by a fucking algorithmic plan that's going to move on to the next cottage industry as soon as it kills us.
And that's exactly. I mean,
You know, if I lose because I lost my touch, or sorry, if I lose because I lost my touch, or because I couldn't keep up anymore, so be it, dude.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Right,
You know,
right.
the roller coaster, you put your arms up and you ride.
Yeah.
But,
The
to be assassinated by goddamn corporate
and that's the worst
interests.
part is the history shows us that's exactly how those companies work.
Oh, and
they bleed out as much as they can. And then they
There's
walk away.
lists online.
Yeah,
You can look them up. Anybody watching this, feel free to DM me. I'll give you the names of the umbrella corporations.
Yeah.
And they list who they own on their own websites.
Yeah.
It's not conjecture.
Yeah,
it's
I think it's about time.
a lot of people would be surprised.
It's about time tattooers step up and start learning a little bit more about what's going on in their trade.
Yeah, I go into a shop and I see like 10 of a certain brand of chair that costs like $2,000.
Yeah.
A chair. I'm like, fuck, man, y'all spent 20 grand
Yeah.
with Matt Mole, and you could. There's got to be a tattooer made alternative.
Well, I think, dude, we both came from a day and age where there were alternatives. I mean, dude, up until Sears Supply went out of business, we bought all of our medical supplies from Sears Supply. I never dealt with. I mean, I didn't buy medical supplies from. Well, back then you couldn't really get medical supplies from most of the supply companies, but we always went to the source.
Yeah.
You didn't deal with some corporate bullshit. Even now, like, I mean, I still don't, and I agree with what you're saying about tattooer-owned businesses, supply companies. But if I can get it directly from the manufacturer, I'm going to cut that out. You know what I mean? I'm going to cut that, and there's nothing against the tattoo supply company. It's just that. Well, if I can get razors directly from the source, I'm going to get directly from the source. If I can get bed tape, bed sheets from the source, I'll get them from the source. Having said that, there are suppliers that are now customizing bed sheets, different things for us, so we don't have to search for it. Or better yet, you can't get it anywhere else because these guys own.
I'll tell you this, Tim's Supply Company, Saltwater, I believe it's called.
Yes.
Awesome. Everything's American made.
I haven't bought from them in a bit. Yeah.
Even their drape sheets. He's like they're a little more expensive, but they're American made and the money goes back into tattooing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, to me that says something.
No.
And like I said, it's not American made out of some statement of patriotism, But with these tariffs and things, American made means something again.
I would
mean,
imagine tattooers are going to wake up in the next, I'd say probably 2 months, where they're going to start seeing the pinch. They're going to start seeing where those tariffs are affecting them, where all that all that foreign stuff coming into the country is really going to start burning their ass because there's no getting around
the
it.
tubes I just got, the ones I was telling you about, the tariff was so high because the tube manufacturer gets his supplies from China.
Right.
And then he makes them in Canada, and then ships them to me. So I was paying double tariff.
Right, exactly.
So
exactly.
it's $108 on 100 tubes.
Yeah.
Extra. So basically $1 extra per tube
Yeah.
when you're already buying a high-end product.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
like
You're already spending the money
I don't
on it.
buy cheap shit. I won't. If I don't like an item, I don't fight my way through it.
Yeah,
I
right,
literally
exactly.
buy the best thing I can find.
No, I agree. I'm a firm believer. Like I said, I deal with certain companies, and you know, if I find something that's better, it's more expensive, I'll spend the money. I mean, I've done that my whole career.
Always.
Yeah,
If it's better, it's better.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like if you're cutting down, it's a $2.50 tube versus a $1.50 tube.
Yeah.
If that matters to you,
Well, you know, we are from a business that does matter to a lot of
you
people.
may be paying attention to your bottom line a little too closely.
Exactly.
Maybe do an extra tattoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe do one more.
Exactly.
I don't know. I see a lot of things coming out nowadays where I feel like a lot of things are compromising even, and as funny as it is to talk about, like cleanliness and safety
Yeah.
for being financial. Like to me, I'm pretty sure cold sterilization is out. And I'm pretty sure you have to submerge something in it to be cold
I
sterilization.
often wonder how that snuck through.
So I don't know how these pens are getting clean.
I almost don't want to say anything on this.
So
But yeah.
I don't understand. I've had a bunch of dudes. I bought a pen. Eric Desmond told me to get a pen and try it for 3 months and don't use anything else, and I did. I bought FK irons.
Okay.
And use it for everything, and then I never got the power of it. Never really got it.
Yeah, I agree.
Went back. So I've tried them, but what were we saying about that? I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Well, we're talking about like the cost of doing business. Oh, well, we started with sterilization. We went
with keeping them
sterilization.
clean.
Yeah.
So I couldn't figure out how to wrap that thing efficiently enough to make sure it stayed clean. Like that wasn't really possible.
Yeah.
And then now I'm seeing guys with a metal grip, and they're just buying plastic tube and tip.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, because of weight distribution. I'm like, is it, or is it because 50 of those cost $20?
Yeah. That's there's a lot of things that like I almost
because
don't
I'm
want.
like, come on, dog.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
give a fuck. I'll say it.
Yeah.
And it's like I just think a lot of people are they want to save money sometimes more so than use the best product or because to me the metal grip with the plastic tube is hustling backwards. I like these disposables I buy have a plastic grip or
Right.
solid plastic grip with a metal tube and a plastic tip.
Oh, you're like the True Tubes.
No, backwards.
Yeah.
Plastic tip, metal tube.
Oh, okay.
And that way you can't squeeze
Oh,
it
that's
and slow
from
it down.
Good Guys. Does
Good
that,
Guys.
Right? Yeah.
And I really like those.
So, so I've been like I've used the plastic tube with the metal grip, but and this is how I.
Now, if you've got 20 of those in an autoclave,
Yeah.
and you're like scrubbing them and autoclaving them,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah.
But if you've got 2 and you use those all day on 20 people, I have questions.
Yeah. No, I agree. You know, like I said, I said that when the pens first came down the pipe, fucking 12 years ago, and I remember having the conversation. People looked at me like I was crazy, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you do realize this makes no sense?
I had straight up arguments with dudes.
Yeah.
And then I would take a Q-tip and put it in rubbing alcohol
Yeah.
and go, and I'm like, what's that? Well, was 1 drop. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
We came up at a time and it only took 1 drop.
Man, what are you talking about?
All right. Before we go down, we're going to stop it there. Hey man, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I really do appreciate this, man. This was a lot of fun. This is actually the first long conversation I've had with you. I mean, I think I only officially met you
Yeah,
in
a
Norfolk.
few times.
Like,
We've said hello a few times,
in passing,
yeah.
in passing. But it wasn't until like Norfolk where you came up and you like properly introduced yourself. Like I knew who you were, you knew who I was apparently, and it was one of those things like, hey, what's going on? It's just two peers. But it's nice to get to be able to say I call you a friend. I really do.
no doubt,
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
No, that's why I think that kind of stuff's going to be important in the future. Is
Yeah.
at shows, we've been working the same shows for 15 years at
Literally,
least, probably.
yeah.
And,
Yeah, literally.
And that it took that long to get to actually talk. So, I think that probably a lot of that. I know a lot of that happens to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tattooers I would rather have cool personal relationships with.
Yeah,
that we're all just hustling when we see each other.
Exactly.
And it's like, hey, what's up?
It's too easy to get caught up.
6 beers.
Yeah, exactly.
Next day,
Too
you're
exactly.
driving home.
It's too easy to get caught up in that. So, all right. Well, on that note, we're
Awesome,
gonna call
dog.
it. Hey guys, thank you very much. I really appreciate everything. Guys, like and subscribe. I'm gonna have all the information in the bottom, like all your shops, all that stuff.
Awesome.
And I appreciate everybody tuning in. Spread the word. Like, subscribe, all that bullshit. And see you when I see you. Thanks.
Read more books.